Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the show designed to help everyone from the solopreneur to the Fortune 500 company win the referral game. If you want to build a company with an army of ambassadors and raving fans who speak highly of you and refer you willingly, you are in the right place. Let's meet your hosts, Chris Angel and Michael Maher.
Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of the Referrals Podcast. In fact, it is our anniversary. Happy anniversary to you, Michael. Happy anniversary.
We made it. There's a lot of people who lost a bet today. So,
yes, right. Oh, look at that. Neil's got some champagne or something, some bubbly there.
Right.
You brought a noisemaker.
Talking about. Oh,
Carla's got, I love it. What a loving tribe. You guys are giving all sorts of love and appreciation right now.
I love it. And I am so thankful that you did not wear your birthday suit, Chris. I'm just saying.
I had debated.
You want to dress appropriately, but some names are just not right? So birthday suit is not the outfit that we wanted to wear for this. So,
no, you're welcome.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that.
Listen, I mean, this is 1 year. 1 year ago, we started this adventure together.
Yeah. Yes. Amazing.
Well, I want to know from you.
Greatness, right?
What's that?
52 weeks of greatness.
Yes. And I want to know, first of all, this is a special episode because we have all sorts of past guests on the show where we get to bring them in. They're going to ask a question, maybe even share some wisdom they've gained over the last year of listening to the podcast and ask you a question. So I will manage all of that for you, so you don't have to worry about that. But
what a cool episode. I hope people will not only listen to this, they'll go to YouTube and watch this. If you see the beautiful, awesome people, there is so much production on this screen right now, and it's perfectly 16 right now. There's something about 16 that just looks really good. 4x4
down the room. Nobody else can join now.
So it's good stuff.
Well, so let me kick it off with this before we bring everybody in with their questions. I want to ask you, Michael, what has a year of this? When you started, when we talked a year ago, before you pull the trigger, you were asking the question, does the world really need another podcast?
That's right.
And now you're into it. What are your insights? What are your discoveries, et cetera?
Yeah, the answer is probably no. The world doesn't need another podcast. So,
okay,
because we've solved that, right? We just came and we made the podcast to end all freaking podcasts. Right.
No
all right,
more.
That's a little braggadocio, but yeah, I mean, so I think the biggest thing is the spread of the generosity generation. We're in it, right? We talked about it coming. It's come. It's here. We're in the middle of it. And I will tell you that if people don't implement it, then they will be left behind. If they don't get on this train right now, they will be left behind. An example is the events, right? Listen, if you're a realtor in a community, and just so you know, I just had a coaching call where an agent lives in a neighborhood, and it's a very nice neighborhood. She wanted to be the only agent in the neighborhood. So I go, here's the deal. You got to implement the 52-week plan. You got to implement the yaps, all yap and top yap. And she goes, okay. And another week, okay, another week, okay, another week, okay. Well, I got 2 referrals today. Well, okay, that's great. But have you done the big dog, right? And so here's the thing. Another agent in her office used the community center, the community building in her neighborhood for, guess what? An event.
Yeah, an event.
You know what? Guess what? She just lost the community center. And she may have lost the neighborhood.
Yep.
So it's be the first one to implement the event-based business, build your business on love, generosity, and appreciation. And look at the proof right here.
Yeah.
Right?
And we've had a whole year of people giving all the nuance and the detail of how people are actually taking it and implementing it in their communities, which is incredible.
Yeah,
so I can't wait to hear what questions these guys have for you based on, their journey. And then what, since we've had them on the show, what new questions are coming up for them. So let's do it. Can we do it?
I'm in 100%. By the way, they say, those who do and those who can't teach, right?
I always hated that.
And what's so amazing is that we have a tribe of those who can teach and those who do. And that's something I'm very, very,
so good.
Very, very proud of.
So good. So good. I love it. Well, what a group, what an elite group we have here. So let's kick it off. So, let's go second grade style and raise your hand, class, if for a question for Michael. So who's going to kick us off here? All right, Carla, I'm coming to you. Carla, so here's the deal.
Got it. Carla wins.
So first of all, give me like a give me a insight, something you've learned, something that has been inspired by the podcast in the last year, and then give me like a question for Michael. Okay.
Whoa.
All right, here we go. Carla, you're on.
The number one thing that I've learned through all of the systems and the 7L system is you don't have to be good at sales to be a good salesperson. It's all about connecting with people, and that's ultimately what's going to lead you to your success in sales. So you don't have to be that guy. You don't have to be the salesman. So that's what I've learned. My question to Michael is, with my coaching clients, as you all know, a lot of them are in the real estate world. We like immediate results. We don't like to wait. Now, all of your systems are very synergistic and work well together. However, if you had to choose just one system to give someone who needs some immediate results fast, what would the one system be?
That's an awesome question, Carla.
Oh, sorry.
We'll give you a dab for that. You knocked that out of the park.
Did I already answer this? It's an event. I would have an event because you will get immediate results from the invitations. Now, if you've been a salesperson for years and you've been hardcore and people are avoiding you and they're avoiding conversations with you because you've been that guy forever, then it's going to take you a little longer to establish this way. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. But have an event. Get an event on your calendar in 30 to 60 days. Start inviting everybody. Now you've got an excuse to have more conversations. As we know, this is a contact sport. The more conversations, the more conversions, the more clients, the more closings. Right?
And we've had a whole year, Michael, of people sharing their experiences with events and how many referrals come up at the event. Like, it's mind blowing. I maybe before we had started this show together, I would have gotten it conceptually, but hearing success story after success story of people having events and getting tons of referrals, like, I'm a believer. I love it. Yep. Great question, Carla. Okay, who's next? Roger, I see you. Okay, so give me something you've learned from the podcast or been inspired by, and then your question. You're on. Oh, hang on, I just unmuted you. There you go, you're on.
All right, thank you. And happy birthday to the podcast. Michael, thank you for changing my life. I appreciate you for the generosity generation, refer code. That whole ethos of being generous of spirit is enough to change my world. In front of me is the unifying communication pyramid, the 7 levels of communication. It is where I begin when I begin to coach my realtor and loan officer partners. It tells me how they should be prioritizing their communication. So Michael, from right at the bottom, from advertising to bulk mail to personalized notes to phone calls to events to one-on-ones, where do you place on this communication pyramid social media?
That was a great question.
Awesome question.
So, first of all, Carla and Roger, thank you both, right? I mean, what's so funny about this is I totally got on this with no expectation other than it's going to be a lot of dang fun. You know what I mean? But I didn't know that I was going to be like on the verge of tears. You know what I mean? Like I'm not dying. We need to make that announcement right now that no eulogies, no any, we're all dying, I guess, but I don't know of anything that's killing me right now. So other than Chris's humor is tough. I just want you guys to know that. So Roger, great question. Here's the thing about this is, I said in 7L that an email is only the promise of a future phone call, right? An email is only the promise of a future live interaction. I truly believe that social media fits very high up in the electronic communication media. It is in the informational zone. It is in the informational zone, right? If you're already influential, then it's going to help you stay influential. And that's what the informational zone really does. Social media fits very high up in the electronic communication segment. And, listen, emails are important. You can attach things. They're nice. Social media with Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn is very important because it allows you to build a relationship. it's not going to be the relationship. That's going to have to be developed in live interaction, phone calls, events for sure, and one-on-one meetings, right? So social media is just the promise of a future positive live interaction. And listen, I mean, we've all seen it with Facebook and Instagram. That's not the end all be all. People thought, oh my God, if I get on Facebook, I'll be good. But you know what? People are still craving relationships. They're still craving the energy that you get when you get in the room with people. They are still doing. Live events are not dead. They've actually had a resurgence of energy. In fact, it's like Phoenix, right? They have literally been ashes. Now live events are the thing. So Roger, great question. So Roger, Carla, two of the best teachers around. I love it.
Killer. Great question. Great answer. Let's do another one. Let's raise our hands, class. Marco, coming to you. Give me the inspiration and then the question. Here you go. Oh, hang on, bro. I just unmuted you. Let me unmute you. I got you. Okay. Don't touch your keyboard. I got you. Oh, I can't unmute you. Can you unmute you? There you go.
See, now I have the power, Chris. First of all,
have the power.
Birthday to Michael. I even brought, party favors, little Smarties. You guys get all.
Of course, you would choose the Smarties out of all the candies, right? Not a Chunky, not a, I knew you were going to have that one or the $100,000 grand bar, right? So I love it.
Well, that would actually be my friend Sarah would probably have the $100,000 grand bar, right, Sarah? There you go. My inspiration's really been, and I think we discussed this on our podcast, is doing the events like Michael said. It was really a big fear doing it in New York, as we discussed logistically, but overcoming that, it was great. So, the 7L really taught us that just go ahead and do it. Don't be afraid. And it's inspirational. And we've had great success with it. And now to the question, I guess, from Michael, in all of your years of coaching real estate professionals, what are your tips on how to best develop B2B professional relationships, similar to what Michelle did with Rick in the book, with non-real estate related fields?
So events. I mean, I hate to have all roads lead to events, but I truly believe it's events, because here's what you do with the B2B, right? Is every B2B is B2B to C, right? So everybody's a consumer. And when you go B2B, that person is a consumer as well, right? So networking is definitely going to be high on the list, right? Networking events. If you don't have a board of advisors yet, I would definitely say you having a mastermind board of advisors where you get 12 B2B people like that together, and you just share ideas on how they've grown business and how they've gone to the next level. But I will tell you, one of the things that is powerful here is that, who is their client? Who is their customer? Figure out a way to partner with them to partner to get their customer. Right. So I think that's one of the big things that I would do. I would do a networking event, a mastermind, a board of advisors with that group, and share, come from the basis of education. Right. That's not how it's done. Right, Marco? Everything's done by cold call. B2B is bigger cold calling than B2C. Let's talk real estate, lending, all that. Right. And please note, a lender is kind of a B2B, right? A lender goes after realtors, or a lender goes to CPA. So build it the same way a lender would do it, right? Is a lender is going to have an event for realtors. Marco, you're going to have an event for business owners or for people who want to go after business.
I don't want to overstep here, Michael, in the answer, because it's a perfect answer. If I combined Marco's question with Roger's observation, right? Like social media, LinkedIn right now, when I go to LinkedIn, I get spammed every day with messages that are like, hey, do you need something? Like, talk about like cold calling in my LinkedIn. People just like straight up, like, they don't even buy me a drink first. They're just like straight up asking for it, right? Yeah. And so if you were able to, in LinkedIn, actually ask people what they're working on and then help them plan an event that was for them, and it was coming from generosity and there was no ask, like that would stand out right now in the space of social media on LinkedIn, because in businesses, they're getting hammered by people always asking for something and never giving.
Here's the other thing, Marco, straight out of 7L, is the spokes. If let's say, are you doing general B2B, or is there somebody you want? If there's somebody you want, like a property manager at a facility, is I would do spokes to hubs, right? We don't talk about spokes to hubs enough. I would find out who I knew, who knew that person. I would have everybody I knew call the hub, call the person that you want to go to, let them know you're going to be calling later. And then because that is now a warm introduction, they'll take your call and then do what you do. Build your relationship from there.
So good. Love it. Good job, Mike.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
We don't talk about that enough.
Spokes and hubs. That sounds like a future episode, Michael. Spokes and hubs. All right. Next question, class. Who's ready? Who's next? Craig, I'm coming to you. Inspiration followed by the question. Here you go. Oh, hang on. See if you can unmute yourself. I can unmute you, just like Marco. There you go.
It's a New York state of mind.
Yes.
Guys, can you hear me?
Yes. We got you.
Great to see everybody. The inspiration, like for both Marco and myself, is the issue of accountability. And very much that came, raised in 7L. And, for us as a team, the hardest thing that we deal with is accountability. And that growing a team, we need to know why things are not accomplished, but without hurting people's feelings. What's your approach towards the issue of team accountability?
What are you doing so far? I mean, this is more of a coaching question than maybe, right? I mean, it's very specific to your style of leadership. But I'm going to tell you something, which is better, not holding them accountable and they don't achieve the level they should have and their feelings are fine? Or is it better to hold them accountable, really tough love, they achieve the goals they want and their feelings are hurt a little bit?
There you go.
Yeah. Sometimes that's a balancing act because...
No, I don't think so. I mean, I love you, and I'm going to give you some tough love right now. I'm not going to hurt your feelings other than a little bit. But the truth is that they need to know what they're being accountable to, and they need to know why they're being accountable to that thing, right? I will tell you, if you're holding somebody accountable to 20 cold calls a day, that doesn't align with your mission, value, and purpose, right? But if you're saying, I want you to make 20 calls to invite people to your next event, right? Then you're like, here's why this is important. When people aren't accountable, it's because they don't desire the results enough, or they don't know what they're going to get out of it, right? Like an event, right? It's like an event. People come to me for referrals. And then I tell them, here's the way to get referrals is through events, right? So what do they want? And then show them that doing what you want them to do will get them what they want, right?
Okay. I mean, yes, because, for us, keeping people accountable, keeping people in line is really what the 7L to us is all about.
Yeah. And and also give them a little win. Like when I was coaching Josh Purvis, I asked him how many calls, and he tracked his call. He was doing 8 calls a day. He told me 20. It was actually 8. I go, okay, I want you to get 10 the next 2 days, right? So guess what? He got 10. And then it was like, all right, I want you to do 15 starting Monday. So he did 15 for a couple of weeks. And then I go, okay, I want you to do 20. And it's like 20 was no big deal. And then I go, okay, Friday's a big day. Friday's a big day. I want you to do 101 calls on Friday. 101. And he got it. He went at 7 a.m. He started calling. He got done at 7 p.m. He made 101 calls. And guess how easy 20 was to do on Monday? But notice I stepped them in gradually. And I think that's the number one thing that people screw up with, like time blocking, right? They go from, hey, what's your ideal week? And their current crappy week looks like this. The ideal week looks like this. There's too big a gap. So they go, oh, I'll do the ideal week, and then they break down, right? Because it's too big of a jump, right? It's like, what's your ideal minute? What's your ideal 30 minutes? What's your ideal hour? Like, let's block off an hour tomorrow, put it in your schedule, have it remind you, and you win. You are now time blocking because you blocked off that hour for tomorrow or for later today.
I like this for future episodes too, Michael. I really feel like people are starting to look at how do we create leverage in our lives. And there's some, beyond events now, we start having people to help us with events. And there's this management leadership conversation that I think people are having. I love the question, Craig. It's really good. Let's jump to the next one. Who's next? Who's next, class? Okay, Don, coming to you. What's the inspiration of the question, Don? Oh, wait, hang on. Oh, you got it.
I'm not muted. I'm good. Happy birthday. Happy anniversary.
Yeah.
I never thought a podcast would have a birthday, but that's pretty awesome.
It's a bouncing baby podcast.
Yeah. So inspiration for us, the relationships. So we have events. We've done events for a long time, but it's about building relationships, which is fun. I enjoy that. That's not sales. That's just building relationships with people. So we've become an expert at building relationships, whether it's one-on-one lunches or doing events. We've tried to become a master at events. We have other people, we're helping other people with their events. So now we're doing events so well, other companies from outside the real estate industry are coming to us and saying, hey, you do events so well, will you help me with mine? And that's just building more relationships.
So good, yeah.
And another thing on events, I'm on the board of realtors, so our RPAC is always struggling to hit our goal. And this wasn't my idea, but they came up with, they said, let's do an event, a VIP event for the top realtors in town. And it had never been done before. So we did that. We raised $20,000 that night.
Wow.
So events is the way to build relationships. So my question to Michael, who I've known forever, what legacy do you want to leave with the 7 levels of communication?
Wow. I want to lead a legacy of love, generosity, and appreciation, right? And that's the power of the 7L system and the generosity generation is my legacy is being built during my work hours. Too many workers, too many people, too many employees, too many staff, too many entrepreneurs, too many realtors, too many lenders. They're being one way at work and they're being a different way at home. I choose to be the same way at home as I am at work, and I choose to be the same way at work as I am at home. I want my legacy to be based on love, generosity, and appreciation. I want my epitaph to say, if you give Michael Maher an ounce of interest, he gave you a ton of love. Well, how do you give a ton of love, right? It's the 7L system, right? It's give massive value first, it's give thanks, and it's give back. And it's the 3 principles of the generosity generation. Give massive value first, or give first is generosity. Give thanks is appreciation. Give back is love, right? So it all aligns. I mean, it is. And I honestly believe the beauty of it, though, is that's not my legacy. It's about building a legacy business. Don McNaughton, your legacy could be love, generosity, and appreciation, right? But you're going to do it a different way. You're going to do different events with different styles, with different people in a different city, and they're going to love you. And you're going to have an opportunity to be generous and an opportunity to be appreciative. And you're going to do it your way. You be with you. That's why Catalyst is create authentic transformation and launch your success today. Create authentic transformation is transform you. Transform to the most authentic you. Isn't it great to run a business where you can just be you? People are attracted to it. They attract others to it. And your business explodes because of it, right? So my legacy, I hope, is love, generosity, and appreciation. That's what I hope.
So good. You do you, boo. You do you, boo.
That's right.
Okay, good. I love it. All right. Okay.
You do you, cuckoo, cuckoo, right?
All right, good. Don, thanks. That was awesome. Let's do, Christina, can I come to you? Are you ready? Christina? Okay. Inspiration and the question. Here you go. I got you. Okay, there you go.
We are ready for a Bentley level of service. I'm just saying.
Thank you guys for having me on, and happy anniversary. In line with what everybody else is talking about, events has been huge for us. With some of your teachings, we're doing our events, and we've incorporated housewarming parties. So in reference to the housewarming parties, when we do them and we teach how to do them, we teach our realtors to leave the event a little early, so that way, the realtor can enjoy their time with their friends and their family. And, it gives them a chance to talk about you as well. When we get down the road, we were sending text messages to them, thanking them for allowing us to have the party for them and thanking them for their trust, and working with us. What are your thoughts on doing a video, like a pre-recorded video text message instead of just a regular text message?
So the question is at the housewarming parties, and and Christina, one of the things we don't talk about enough is how this big picture flows so well. Housewarming parties to our events. Go to their circle, build relationships within our client circle, and build our client circle, and then take and hopefully invite them and attract people to your circle, your events from the housewarming parties. And that's exactly how I did it. That's why I went from 0 to 187 transactions in 3 years. And the specific question you're talking about is the follow-up text right out of 7L. It's my favorite strategy. I mean, I still do this today. I had a conversation with Carla yesterday or the day before. I was like, hey, and then it was like I text her, you're so awesome, right? And hopefully she felt good about that, right? Even though it was a copied text and it actually said, first name, you're awesome, right? I'm just kidding. But the first thing I would say, Christina, is maybe on the video, I don't know, right? I wouldn't automate it and I wouldn't record it before. There is something about being in the moment, going to the event, and then after you leave, like something's going to be that spark. And I will tell you, that spark is a spark of commonality between you and that couple. There's going to be an inside joke. They're lick, bick'em, bickable, right? Right there. I knew Sherry was going to laugh, right? Because like their lick, bick'em, bickmal is it's an inside joke, right? So, and I will tell you, that's one of the things that helps get referrals is have little inside jokes with all of your clients, right? One little thing that's so weird, so cool. And I will tell you, Christina, one of the thing on that text is just to iron that one spark, but don't ever always do the text. That text is such a valuable piece of the relate. It's like, you know what? They think it's a marketing event. You go and all you do is serve and they have the greatest time in the history of the world. They're actually surprised you did not sell anybody or market to anybody. And then you leave and you just iron that relationship. It's all about you. It's all about you. It is all about you. And that's what that text message does. If you wanted to do a video and just say, hey, listen, I just wanted to, tell you, in person. I thought about sending you a text, but I'm so excited. I just wanted to do a video. And I just wanted to say, hey, but I will tell you on that. If you haven't been doing videos throughout them seeing homes, don't do a video, right? Don't make it different because it looks too contrived, right? It needs to look real, original, and authentic. Great question.
Yeah, really good.
Let's get ready for referrals. In the red corner, we have the average agent working by advertising, learning on the fly, no systems, no profit, and no clients. And in the blue corner, we have what could be you, the profitable agent working by referral, loving life and loving their clients. Are you ready? Take your business to the next level and go to www.callwithcoach.com and set up your free referral coaching session. Go now, change your business forever. www.callwithcoach.com.
Love it. Awesome. Thanks, Christina. Okay, class. Next, who's up? Raise your hand. Let's see it. Yes, Wendy, coming to you. Here you go. There you go.
Wendy, one of our top 5 episodes of all time. One of our top 5 is Wendy Griffiths on the lifetime value of a client. One of my favorite. That was a good episode.
Thank you. Yeah, it was really fun to be on. I really appreciate this podcast and happy anniversary. Happy birthday. Inspiration, I would say, there's so much good stuff. And, you go back to the events. I've been hosting events, but I really loved hearing how other agents did it in their business and took it to a different level. So that was very inspiring. And I also love listening to Sean Wood's podcast when she really talked about how she just did something that she really loved to give back to the community, and that turned into business. So not always being generous with people that we are trying to, build our sphere or whatever, but being generous just to her community. So those are a couple of the inspirations I got from the podcast this year. So my question though is, I'm trying to find the balance. So you follow the generosity generation process, and you become, at least I have, really a person, a giver, right? And so how do you figure out when you're giving, like who you balance your time with? When you reach a level of success, I have people I know already, but then I'm also an influencer in my community. Where do I find the balance in where I put my time as you succeed in this process?
So that's a great question. So I'm going to tell you something. Balance is a myth. I know. I'm looking at all the women. I'm looking at all the men. Balance is a myth. I mean, it is. And you didn't maybe necessarily mean balance, but I get where you're saying is life is a value exchange, right? Relationship is a value exchange, but life is a value exchange. You're going to exchange time for the value of that time, right? So what we need to do is, the first thing is, I always say, grade your database, right? So immediately you have time, energy, effort, money, limited resources, right? And by the way, that spells meet, right? Money, energy, effort, and time. So meeting with people is one of the best things you can do for a value exchange. So that's a note to self. You knew an acronym was going to be dropped at some point, right?
I was hoping.
So the thing is once you grade your database, we just did this with Pam Heinhold in Pensacola, Florida. Listen, she had 129 ambassadors and champions out of almost 20,000 people in her database. 20,000, that's a lot of people, right? But she thought, I can never get through this. Oh, let's see, right? Let's see how long it'll take you. And she's just buzzing through it, 129, which is one of the highest numbers I've ever seen on a first pass through, right? Some people have 3, that's great. So that's the first thing, is pour your time, energy, effort, money, your money, energy, effort, and time into those 129, right? Then when you are meeting new people, one of the greatest questions ever is, what are your goals, right? Have your conversation with them, find out what their goals are. And Wendy, I'm going to tell you, we need to be so protective of our time, energy, effort, money, right? This is how much, especially energy. I'm so into energy right now. Like, you look at all 4 of those, like energy is the one that is most sparse in my opinion, right? Maybe it's just me. But the question is, what are your goals with people that you don't know? Find out their goals. Here's the thing. If they have goals, they're worth your time. If they don't have goals, they're probably not going to be worth your time. And I know that's a harsh reality, but the fact is we can't balance. We can't be everyone to everybody. What we have to be is awesome to a few, right? And here's what's funny about that. You're awesome to a few, everybody thinks you're awesome. Seriously, right? So it's one of those where, and here's the other thing, is if you're awesome to the people who aren't within the few, they don't think you're awesome anyway, right? So you could be awesome to someone and just be awesome and they still don't think you're awesome. Well, forget them, right? I mean, why try to convert when you've got all these people that are already attracted to you, right?
Yeah.
Connect.
Great advice. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. And by the way, Wendy has a great book, bestseller, Recognize the Difference. Very good book. Oh, you know what? 1 second. And we're hit. What? There you go. Go get it. Beautiful cover. Great title.
Yay. So good.
7 key traits to ensure the best real estate agent experience ever. It's not just for consumers. She uses it for a consumer book very smartly. And it's also for realtors.
Love it. So good. Awesome sauce. Let's do the next one, class. What's up? Who's going next? Raise your hand. Neil, coming to you. Here we go.
Oh, no. No.
Neil, unmute yourself.
Is there anybody else? Seriously?
Okay. You guys later.
Neil, I'll tell you what. Neil's that guy, right?
Do you guys like the shirt? shirt.
What's it say on it?
I thought there was a party. I thought we were having a party, so this is my favorite party shirt. It's koi
Party
fish.
shirt. It's a mojito shirt. It's a mojito shirt.
That's awesome.
Good luck.
I feel like, did Chris just say you should have a mojito? Is that what
It's a mojito shirt. Isn't that a thing? Don't we call?
Oh, bang!
Oh,
Now it's a party.
Bubble. Because it is 9 o'clock in California.
Have you seen one? Have you guys seen the meme where the girl dropped the champagne bottle and it sprayed all over her? Right. I've had days like that. I just want you to know that.
So I want to say, Michael, thank you so much for coming to my life. This book, for all of us, has been transformational. I'm sure as well for you, and just the amount of people we've been able to affect. And thank you. And I'm looking for more. My biggest epiphany is I've done events. I've been referral for a number of years. I'm coaching people on this. It's the biggest epiphany is this form, this door prize entry form, is the secret sauce, and it just is so incredible. Just seeing people who've done these events. I have a gentleman coaching out of Colorado, and he finally just put this thing in for a housewarming party and for a client event. And all of a sudden called me and said, I have 23 referrals. I have no idea what to do. And he's been doing events for years. So all of a sudden, this little form is just transformed. So that's probably one of the biggest epiphanies I've had is, yes, you can lead in generosity, you can do all these things, but just a little tweak in what you're doing and having the courage to do a little extra step. And by having that form, it's really transformational. So thank you for that push on that. My question's a little more on the Don McNaughton side of life, in that I've looked at what I've gone through this last year in transformation and last couple of years and stuff with this 7L. And it made me think of you. So since you've written this book, 8 years now, right? And you're crushing it, right? What was it? Best-selling book, right? Real estate, Amazon, right? Multiple years running. Awesome. But since you've written this book, what's your biggest aha? Okay, it's a two-part question. And then 10 years from now, what would you, or 9 years from now, let's just say double it, whatever, what would you want your biggest aha to be?
I like it.
Wow.
Bam.
So, yeah.
Bam.
Nice question. That's
with the party shirt. That's a deep question for a party shirt.
I mean, your shirt throws me off. Right? I thought it was going to be a lot. Yeah. So first of all, Neil Smith is a certified referral coach as well as a certified referral trainer, one of our top coaches. And as you heard, he just got one of his clients 23 referrals. So congratulations on that, and congratulations to him in Colorado. That's awesome. And say his name so people know who to refer.
Hang on.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry. Unmute yourself again.
Corey Wilkes, Colorado.
I love it. So Corey's a realtor?
Realtor, yep.
Male, right, guy?
Yep, male.
Okay. Corey Wilkes. Nice. Congratulations, Corey. And that's awesome to hear, and got to be awesome for you. I think the number one aha that I got from the book, I have to tell you, I wrote a book so that I could go back and sell real estate. I was getting so many questions. So the fact that it's been number one for 8 straight years on Amazon in the real estate sales category, I can't believe how successful it's been for so long. And what's key about this is no advertising, no promotion, no marketing.
Wow.
It's 100% word of mouth and referral. It's you guys, totally, right? So that's number one. And then I think down the road, I mean, I have another book in me that needs to come out in the next 18 months, right? And you might think, well, why can't you get it done in 4 months like you did Miracle Morning for Real Estate Agents? Because I'm going to make it a love story. I'm going to make it a story. I'm going to make it pop. And that's the problem, right? 7L has done so well, it's been freaking hard to follow. I'm a little scared to write a book because it's like, dang, what if it's not as good as 7L? Then I'm going to let people down. And I'm going to write it anyway, right? Craig, I'm going to write it anyway, right? But the 7L system has come so far in 9 years. I mean, that, the next one is going to be the handbook to success for any business, building it the event-based business way, right? So, Neil, great question. That's awesome.
Yeah, so good. Awesome sauce. Let's do the next one. Who's up? Okay, Jody, coming to you.
Jody,
I am unmuted. Yay. Hi. Happy anniversary. I don't have my party shirt. I have coffee. We start a little slower in Utah. Sorry, Neil. Okay. So Michael, yay. I love you. You're so wonderful. So happy you came into my life so many years ago. I am bringing a question from one of my agents that I am coaching. She's new in the business, really smart cookie, and has a very cool name. Her name's Christina Likeham. So you like them, right?
Yeah, I like them a lot.
I know she knows my answer to this, and she wanted to hear your answer, Michael. What are the first 3 things an agent should do when starting their business through referral marketing?
Okay. So what were your answers?
My answer was events, call your SOI, and more events. and networking events.
Sarah Chattel didn't get to say anything.
Sorry, Sarah.
So Jody, I would say the first thing is to grade your people, right? Grade your database. Like, go and figure out who you're going to party with, right? Like, we have, I don't know, 81,000 people in our data, and we invited 20 to this call, right? So, we could have invited 20,000. Would that have been difficult to manage? Right? Probably, but it's it's like, know who you want to go to. And the only way to do that is by grading your database, and it doesn't take as long as you think. And you can be, once you're done, right? Until someone proves they've moved up a level or moved down a level or moved out, right? Mm-hmm. So grading your database would be number 1. And then as soon as you've graded your database, you got to get an event on the calendar. Get an event on the calendar, and then you call. Not just call, but do all the touches of the 7L system, of the system, right? Do all the touches. Do the email, do the video email, do the call, do the text message, do another email, do another video email or a text, and then do the handwritten notes to your top 25, have the event, and then have one-on-ones after your event, right?
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
So that's it.
So good. I think a lot of people getting into the business are looking for, very concrete answers. I think that's,
and getting more specific than that.
I know what you just said was like super easy to do, and it works. So
what's cool is Jody and I had the same answer.
Yeah.
Right? That's the consistency of this, right?
Yeah. So good. I love it. All right, let's go next. Who's next? Okay, Darla, I'm coming to you. Here we go. Do you want to unmute you? Oh, there you go. Good job.
There we go. Hello, and happy anniversary, Referrals Podcast. This is so exciting. For me, building relationships has always been a part of my life, but I didn't know how to build it into my business. And when I came across 7L and Michael's systems, it just made everything fit. And for a follow-on for me, the aspect of being able to train in these systems is, it's so who I am. It's so much what I've always done. And it's just made a world of difference for me and my business. And my question comes from the training aspect. I am passing the 7L book out to just about everybody that I run into. And I have been asked this question several times. You've already answered my follow-on question, and that was when is there going to be a 7L Part 2? But the other question is pretty simple, and that is, who is Coach? I know one of the podcasts you actually went through and, gave basically names to everybody in the book that has been in your life, but you haven't identified who actual Coach was.
Mm-hmm. So who do you think Coach is, Darla?
Well, I actually had a conversation earlier this morning about who coaches you. And I can think of a few names that come to mind, people that show up in your intro video, things like that. Tony Robbins and Howard Brennan.
Yeah,
I think
Howard Brennan. Yep.
Brennan. So I know that there have been people in your life that have contributed to that, but I guess basically maybe what it boils down to is there anyone that is consistent in your life at this point that still is an active part of your coaching?
So that's two
as
different
if you
questions,
needed to be coached.
right? That's two different questions, right?
Okay,
So-
that's true.
so-
It is two different questions.
So who is coaching the book, right?
Right.
So it's whoever you think it is, right? That
Okay.
I mean, that's the truth. Like people ask me who Jay Michaels is, right?
Well, that's
the speaker who dresses in all black on the stage,
Right.
right? And
That's-
people go,
yeah.
well, that's Gary Keller, isn't it? I go, yes, it is.
No.
No, it is for them, right? And then I go, and then they go, no, that's Brian Buffini, right? And it's like, yeah, it is, right? I mean, and they're like, they name somebody I don't even know who it is, and it's like, yes, it is. That's who it is, right? And that's the truth. That's the beauty, I think, of 7L is we can read the people that we've known in our life into these different roles. But the truth is what I did is I wrote the book almost like from 6 or 7 or 8 different vantage points, right? I wrote it as if I was coach, right? And I wrote it as if I was Rick. I've been all of them, right? So those different roles were in my life, and I just took the role. I put that hat on. I literally had a physical hat, right? Coach. And I would literally go from that aspect of coming from the coach aspect, and then the speaker from the speaking aspect, right? And then Don Dasick. I've been Don Dasick, right? I have somebody in mind for Don Dasick, right? And Dasick is the ego. Dasick is Dasic from Freud. His last name means the ego. So Don Dasick, he is the ego. Rick Masters wants to follow the ego, but the ego guy doesn't let him follow him. And so he's got to find a different way. He finds Michelle Phillips, and then Rick eventually wins through unselfishness or selflessness, right? And so this book, in its essence, is a battle of ego versus selflessness that we all fight. We want recognition, right? We want to be known. We want to be a star. But the thing is what if I told you the way to be a star is to be selfless, to be generous, to be kind, right? And that's what the book at its essence is falling back in love with yourself and being okay with not necessarily have to be the superstar, right?
That's good, man. You just took it to another level, Michael. You didn't even cover that on when we talked about it before. You just you just went deeper.
This podcast is for that. Hopefully I've spoke to the hubs. We haven't talked about that either.
You M. Night Shyamalan to me again. You M. Night Shyamalan to me once more. You surprise ending me again.
Sweet.
Okay, well, I'm tripping over my words. We got 2 more questions, people. Darla, thank you. 2 more questions. Who's next, Sandy or Sean? Okay, Sandy, that was you. You're coming to you. Here you go. Oh, wait, unmute yourself.
Sandy, do you have like a filter on your video? What filter are you using?
There you go.
No, I don't have any filter.
So you almost look like it's in black and white. It's a cool filter.
It's cool. It is a cool effect.
It is.
Nice lighting. Just the
very
lighting
good
you live in.
Just the lighting or the camera built into the laptop.
Nice.
Okay, so first of all, Michael and Sherry, thank you so much for having me today and creating this podcast and creating 7L. And I know it was a joint journey with you guys that has rocked my world. So thank you. I think my biggest aha initially when I read the book 7 years ago was the big idea of give my best to my best. I just celebrated 35 years of doing mortgages. And so I would say for the last 7 years, I was more like the spray and pray as a loan officer out there, not only with just agents, but with past clients as well. And when I read the book, the first thing that really hit me was the idea of I needed to give my best to my best instead of what was happening sometimes was giving my best to the worst. And then wondering why I didn't have this feeling of joy and generosity at the end of it. And so that was the biggest part. And that was in my word, that's where the grading came in. That was the way I was able to get into my database and figure out who my best were. And probably the hardest thing I did, initially, and but then with the most impact, which is a blessing. I tend to grow from pain, which is good or bad, depending, right? So my question was something that already somebody said. Way to go, Jody, you took it. But by the way, love you. But I'm sitting here from an amazing place in my business where we're growing from the seeds that we've been planting all around 7L. I literally can look at my closings for July. I think we're going to hit 15 or 16, and I can track 13 of them from referrals from people that I've met since I've embraced the 7 levels. And so that's just like ridiculous. But I want to know, as we're all busier, and I want the idea of giving my best to my best, and my referrals are coming from my best now, and I love doing events, and we're doing events and housewarming parties. I am maxed out, right? We have 15 closing, and all 15 people want to do a housewarming party. And then I have 4 ice cream events this month. I have 3 movie events this month with my best people, and my calendar looks a little full. Mm-hmm. So your advice for handling when you embrace this and you start filling your calendar, especially from a loan officer perspective, how do you manage it?
So what have you tried so far?
Don't you coach me?
I'm gonna coach his coach.
I know. So what I've tried so far is staggering the time. Like I've got this Saturday, I have 3 events. We've got a coffee, We Love You a Latte from 10 to noon. I've got a movie from 12 to 2, and then a ice cream thing from 2 to 4. So I'm not going to be there the whole time, and I've set the stage, but I've helped the agents with having everything and helping them get stuff there. I think part of the challenge is, number 1, I have control issues. Number 2, as a coach for you, I know the system, so my agent partners end up not really managing the system. I usually take on, like 90% of it, which is part of the problem. Gotcha.
So I think that answered it. So I think the one thing, so Neil has a client who had 23 referrals, right? He's never handled 23 referrals before. What's your advice to him?
I don't have a problem with the referral.
No. I just want the answer. I don't want to know about your problems.
Oh, you want me to?
This is about his problem.
Well, I would go take all of them. I would time block, and I would make a video that's reproducible and done between them, saying thank you, great to meet you, an email, and put it in my time block to call.
Who are you going to call first? There's 23. Who do you call first?
Well, I go to the questions on the form. Duh.
Okay. So
I'm going to say who wants to talk to me.
Right. So when you go to the questions on the form, what does that mean? Right.
That means whoever wants me to call them that they might be thinking about buying or selling first.
That's right. So we got 23 of those.
Yeah.
So who are you calling first?
I guess I would talk to the homeowner and find out who they know, what they know about the guest that was there. Or if I happen to connect with somebody that was there and I remember who they were, I'm going to call those first.
Okay. So maybe relationship wise, things like that. But the fact is at some point, everybody's going to get to the point in this referral based business where you have too many referrals and not enough time. And you're going to have to regrade. You're probably due for a regrade you might only be able to do events with your top 5, whereas now you've been doing it with your top 20.
Right.
Right. The other part of it too is 5 minutes of Sandy is better than 0 of Sandy. Always remember that. And what if I told you that staying for 5 minutes is sometimes better than staying for 55?
I love that idea.
Okay. I knew you would.
Thank you.
Awesome. Good question. Okay, we've got one more question and then some final closing thoughts for everybody. Sean, I'm coming to you next.
She's been alphabetically last like her entire life.
It just worked out that way. I didn't mean to do that.
Here she is, right? Talk about lead with generosity.
Love the mask, Sean. That's awesome.
Yeah,
thanks for bringing props today.
Yeah. Well, I got dressed up. You said it's a party. I put stars up, for the superstars.
It wasn't a party till Neil walked in with his party shirt.
And Marco with his Smarties.
That's right.
Nice.
I just want to thank you for having me here, for changing my life. I found you by accident, and I was bound and determined to get to you, and I did. I want to thank you for teaching me to create authentic relationships, and that those are really valuable. There's a lot of other ways people are teaching us to do this business, and that by far has shown to be the best. So thank you for that. And my question, I had a set of questions because I figured I'm going to be last. What if someone asked my question? But, a lot of us, we want to emulate great leaders, and, we look after Tony Robbins or whoever, and they try to recreate what you do, because if we do what you do, we're going to be great as well. So I was just wondering, how does Michael J. Maher start his day? What's your morning ritual? How do we get off on the right foot like you?
So that's, I should write a book on that. Oh, wait, I did. So go to miraclemorningagent.com. You can read about my entire morning ritual, right? So miraclemorningagent.com. It was amazing when I interacted with how similar what he had laid out was what I laid out. And so, it's very similar to Savers. The thing that I had never really done very well in the morning was exercise, right? And so I've added, I don't know if you can tell, but daddy's slendering up, right?
Looking good.
So, yeah, looking good. So it's one of those where adding the exercise to the morning, and I mean, literally today, I did not walk in the morning. I went to physical therapy for my arm. I played adult baseball. Why? We're still conversing about that. But the thing is that I missed my walk and podcast. I listen to podcasts and walk in the morning. But one of the things that wasn't in the book that has really been is when I roll out of bed, my feet hit the ground, I say thank you, thank you, thank you. And that is I've died once. So, I still have that real sharp appreciation for, today was also a special day because I knew I was going to have this, right? This was a highlight. So I think that's the biggest part. I drink the warm water. I go through my ritual of doing the meditation and the journaling and the reading, and now exercise and the podcast have been a big part of it. And I'll tell you what, if you're not doing affirmations, you're missing out. And you don't have to do a book of them, right? Do one. Like, I am a top producer. I am a referral generating machine. I am attracting more referrals than I could ever follow up with, right? I am. And then end it with, or something better, right? It is amazing how often I've visualized anything and then said, or something better, and something better happened. So, I mean, that's a short question with what could be a long answer, right?
It's good. Or you can go read the book now. Now there's a elongated answer.
Also a bestseller, by the way, right now.
So good.
It's crazy. The books are on fire right now.
This is fun. This was fun, Michael. This was a great way to do this. People, some of you were chatting here with us in the Zoom window about how cool this was. I agree. I think this was amazing. I think we should do this format again. Yeah. I want to give a quick shout out to somebody who's always behind the scenes that we never get to see or hear from, which is Sherry Maher. Sherry Maher, I'm actually going to unmute you, Sherry, because I want to just say you're amazing. Sherry does all this work in the background of getting show notes and inviting people, scheduling stuff. Like, she's a rock star that it wouldn't happen. Michael, I'm just saying, Michael, it probably wouldn't happen if it was left up to you. But because Sherry's in the mix, it gets done. So Sherry, awesome job. This is part of the impact you're making through the show. Thanks for all you do.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that this episode worked out, and I'm super happy that we made it to a year. I knew this podcast was going to be successful before we even launched it. And it's been really good for it's been good for Michael because I love to kind of keep him invigorated, and chatting with a lot of people does that for him. So I love to keep him busy and keep his mind busy, I guess, with new ideas and creativity. And everybody that's been on the podcast this last year, I mean, it's just been amazing. Like every episode, I'm like, oh my gosh, this was the best episode. And then like Sandy comes on, I'm like, oh my gosh, that was the best episode. And then Neil comes on, I'm like, oh my gosh, that was the best episode.
No, you didn't say that. When Neil was on, you were like, it was a little disappointing. I'm just kidding.
I did not. I have never said that about a single episode. But anyway, so I just want to say that I am thankful to everybody that we've had on to the podcast, because not only are you, I mean, did it make for a great episode, quote unquote, but you guys, your episodes live on, and you are inspiring people daily.
Bless you, Sandy.
Yeah. Bless you, Sandy. So congratulations we made it a year. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, everybody that's been on, and thank you, everybody that is a listener.
So good.
Today was really fun. This was a lot of fun.
This is really
a lot of great people on this. I mean, near and dear my heart. And we'll see you all at Referral Mastery Summit, right? Everybody going to Referral Mastery Summit in Atlanta, right? That's going to be a crazy awesome event. Crazy awesome. I mean, every day it gets better. The agenda gets better. And I'm not kidding. Yesterday it got better. I mean, it was just, I can't wait.
So good. In fact, I can just add that as a shameless plug. Like, this episode has been brought to you by Referral Mastery Summit.
100%.
And if people want to learn about how to get that, well, I think the reality is that we've heard this story so many times from all of you, that this is what's possible when you start to embrace love, generosity, and appreciation. And I think you get to kind of have a big dose of that when you go to Referral Mastery Summit, right?
Imagine hanging out with these people.
Yeah.
I think it's just like, it reminds me of Howard Brenton's Star Power when he was developing it, that there was a like-minded group of people who were sharers.
Yeah.
These people who shared their strength. There are people in our business who will hold their stuff close to the vest. Mm-hmm. And there are people who are like, here it is. Here's the strategy. Here's my system. Implement it, make it happen, and good luck to you, right? And guess what? The whole industry gets better because of it, all of it.
Well, let's end on that. Like, where do people go if they want to get signed up for that summit?
Well, creatively enough, it's referral-mastery-summit.com. So referral-mastery-summit.com.
Thanks for not making us guess. That's fantastic. Awesome.
Yes.
Well, everybody on, thank you so much for being here. Michael, thank you for having the vision of the show. Share you too. And
we got to sing happy birthday. You guys ready? And take everybody off mute. Let's do happy birthday.
Oh, okay, hang on. Let me, everybody unmute yourself.
And by the way, it's to the podcast. Don't say to Michael. It's not my birthday.
Okay, here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear God. Happy birthday.
Oh, yeah, that's amazing.
Everybody,
wow, that was awesome.
We all have to blow the candle. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
That's awesome. What a group. What a tribe. What a tribe. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Michael, thank you. Sherry, thank you. Until next episode, see ya.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Love ya.
Thanks, Michael.